It does help if I also remember to unmute myself. Good morning. Kitsune's resubscribed for the 33rd month. Mew. Mew. Mew to you too. Gosh, 33 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There we go. That'll work. It's so many. It is. It's so many months. And it's so much sewing. But that's good. That's the whole thing I wanted to do with these streams was just, carve out time to make myself sew. And that has happened. So I call that success. All right. Speaking of sewing and hexagons, that's what we'll be starting with, as always. So I'll need to make today's hexagon. I've been making one hexagon every day. I did it all of last year. I'm doing it again this year. It's a fun way to use up a bunch of different fabrics. It's an 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one. Hexagons are bestigons. Thank you, HopeBot. You're right. The light may be a little bit wonky because it's pretty bright and sunny out and there's a window right there. But if it gets too bad, I can probably reach over and close the blinds, but I don't really want to because yay, winter sunshine. It's rare enough as it is. But I hope you're having a good Sunday so far, kits. I hope your soup was also tasty. Our soup was extremely tasty, and there is so much of it. We're going to have leftovers for days. Which is good. That was the goal. Does help if I grab my needle. Thread, please. There we go. All right. So here are this week's hexagons. Kupo Zzz, Akara. Hooray. Should I be poking you to work on homework? Or at least, should I be poking you to work on homework in a little while once you've woken up? Do a little bit of shuffle here. Work on it in a little bit. All right, fair enough. There will also be a D&D recap at the top of the hour. Since I didn't stream last week, the recap for last week's session, we'll do it today. And boy howdy, it was a session. There we go. We'll call that shuffled. Let me see if I can. Apologies. I'm just trying to close the blinds a little bit, but the angle is super awkward. There we go. It should reduce the glare a little bit. Yeah, so this is what we have so far for 2025 and beyond. I kind of really like that we've got this cluster over here, not done on purpose. Again, these are all decided as you just saw with, you know, shuffling through. So the cluster was not planned, but I kind of like it. Ah, no, come back. I need you. Come back, Thimble. Eh. Good morning, Randus. Strange to see you awake so early. There we go. a lot yesterday. That sounds nice. Unless it was for illness-related reasons, in which case, boo. If illness it was news to you, you were just tired, that's fair. I'm glad you were able to rest then. Needs more pink. It's got pink. It's got pink here. I've got more pink in the pile for this week, so there will be pink along here. I think it's got more pink than anything else at the moment, to be honest. But it's not all pink and therefore more pink. I mean, fair. I suppose I could do one that's just all pink. Kupo lady may be biased toward mono pink, maybe a tiny bit. There are a lot of zigzags, it's true. Look, I just use the fabric the dice tell me to, okay? I don't make decisions on these things. The only decision I make is on what new fabrics to add to the pile. And I do kind of consciously try to keep it somewhat color balanced. Mostly in like lights and darks. If like the pile is getting to be mostly lights, I'll add a dark or two, and vice versa. But otherwise, I just let the dice decide. The only problem with a monocolor scrap quilt is that you can end up with a lot of different shades of the color that may end up clashing with each other. Like, there's a lot of different pinks out in the world, and they might not all look super nice together. I mean, if you're going for like an ugly sweater type of quilt where you're like, oh god, it's awful, I love it, then that could totally be a thing. Surely you should add things to the pile in even clumps because otherwise the resultant fabric could be biased. Sort of. So the other thing is that some things will, some fabrics I'll have way more of than others. Like this pink one, I've got a fair few squares of that because I had a fairly big piece of it that I was cutting up. Whereas other ones, I had like much smaller pieces to start with. So like this bubbly aqua one, I only had a small piece, so it's only ever gonna have like 4 pieces. So it also depends on the size of the fabric that I'm cutting up. But that's part of why when I roll the dice and I count through, I don't count by individual pieces, because then that would be biased toward the ones that have more pieces. I count by the fabric itself. So like, say if I rolled a 4, I wouldn't be counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead, I'd be counting, okay, all of these pinks is 1. All of these florals are 2. See, I have a lot of that one. All of these purples are 3. And then I would actually end up using the aqua one. That's part of why I do that, so that it doesn't get biased based on the amount of fabric squares that are in the pile, and each of the individual fabric patterns has an equal chance of being picked. But then it gets slightly biased in the sense that if I don't have a very big piece of it and there's only a few squares in the pile, it's going to run out faster. And there will just be less of it in the blanket, which is fine. Again, that's kind of the magic and the joy of a scrap quilt, is that it's never going to be perfectly balanced or perfectly arranged the way that a planned quilt would be. Ooh, okay. What if it was like totally planned out via whatever entity is controlling the method of random generation? There could be a secret message hidden in said quilts. Ooh, that's an interesting thought. I think that means we have to finish the quilt and then observe the whole thing to try to see if there's a pattern hidden in the chaos. You could be right. I had not thought of that. you have an infinite number of SJs making an infinite number of quilts, eventually one will make the Sistine Chapel. That's true. Theoretically, that is true. Just jump to the one I've already finished. Yes, that's true. I will be switching over to that one once I've finished attaching all of these, so perhaps we can observe it for hidden messages. Come on. I definitely have complete control of my fingers. I stab myself. Yeah. Not even stabbing, just like I keep fumbling the thread. Oh well. I'm usually fairly good about the stabbing. She says right before she stabs herself. No. Oh, come on. Most people that stitch things practice good needle safety. Yeah, fantastic needle safety, like shoving the needle into your mouth. Although, not pointy end in. Pointy end out. Oh, time for new carby. Ooh! Interesting. A snowy new carby for our snowy landscape, I guess. They hangry? They sure do look hangry, yeah. Oh good, Kitsune is fixing it. Still angy, but less hangry. We hope. Thread. There we go. Oh, you used to leave your needle in the arm of the chair, like an old overstuffed style, and forgot it was there. Your dad sat on it, and that was the last time you did that. Yup. I actually used to do that too. We had the same thing. We had like a big plush armchair, and if I was sitting in it to sew, I would just kind of stab my needle into the arm. But yeah, that's not a fantastic idea. That's why we have pin cushions. What is up with those earlobes? Did they always look like that? I think it's part of I think the shape of them changes depending on whatever the pattern is on Carby's belly, which is like, I guess, quote unquote, the element. Like, I think this one is metal, but then there's also been like lightning bolty ones, and like I think that also changes the shape of the ears, but I could be wrong. It's how you attach them to the holder. What kind of a holder are you depositing your Carby in, Kite? Why would you put it in a holder? And why? I don't know, but I do recognize bolt holes when I see them. Oh dear. I have concerns. maybe a pannier attachment for travel. See, you say that, and now I'm just imagining putting roller skates on the carbuncle and then attaching like a handle so that you can just kind of wheel the carbuncle along like a wheelie suitcase. I'm trying to decide if that's like more or less offensive to the carbuncle than a leash. The answer is yes. Fair. Nope, come on, thread. I'm just waiting for the day that I'm really not paying attention or like really sleepy and I stitch one of these on backwards. Like, it would be easy enough to fix, but it would be really embarrassing. Didn't I already do that once or twice? I mean, we've done enough sewing on here that yeah, I might have. I don't remember any specifically, but I totally could have. Ah, nope. Come on, thread. Work with me. Just a reminder, in about 10 minutes we'll start the D&D recap for last week. So if you need to get up, move around a little bit, grab refills on your drinks before that, please do so. Because let me tell you, last week's session sure was a session. I had a lot of fun. I don't know about anybody else, but I quite enjoyed it. Do I need a pastry or a coffee refill before recap? No, I'll be okay. I'll take my break after the recap like I usually do. And I'll probably come down and grab a banana or something. There is also soup. That's true. I will probably have soup after stream, though. It's very good soup. There is so much soup. Anyone that wants to come visit to like help us eat soup in the next like 2 to 3 days, please, by all means, come help us eat soup. You know, if you happen to be in the neighborhood. Yeah, there was so much we had to freeze half of it. When Yalk said 600 grams of soup mix and a gallon of liquid, I did not fully appreciate just how much soup that would be. It's a lot of soup. But that's okay. It means that we'll have later soup. It sounds supernatural. It was. It was spooky how much soup that made. Yes, go reheat soup. Enjoy noms. Carrie, you should also reheat soup for yourself at some point. I kind of hope the weather is mild enough tomorrow that I'll be able to come home for lunch so that I can have more soup. I have no idea what the weather is supposed to look like. I know we're supposed to get more snow today, but I have no idea what the temperature is supposed to look like tomorrow. Tomorrow is a high of 0 and a low of -9. I'll take that. Considering we had to go out for groceries in -16 yesterday and nearly died. I will take -9. Wait, we have a thing. Oh, thank you. I was just about to do that, Randus. Yeah, it sucked yesterday. And it was windy, which made it worse. It was that kind of cold where on the way to the grocery store, I could like feel the ice crystals forming in my nose as I breathed. It was not pleasant. And that was with a scarf on. Hopebot. I'm not sure -0 is a thing. But thank you for your effort. -0 is a thing? I thought 0 was an absolute that was neither positive nor negative. Or does that mean that it's also technically mathematically both? Oh, okay, that does make sense, Randus. Because of the conversion, it's likely falling between 0 and -1, so the negative sign is telling you which side it's rounding from. That makes sense. Thank you, I had not thought of that. Hey Merlin, good morning. You're just about in time for the D&D recap here in a couple minutes. I hope your trip is doing well so far. Or going well so far. In purer math, so leaving the rounding aside, -0 and +0 are normally the same, but there's some fun things with limits when looking at stuff that is not properly defined. However, that normally gets expressed as approaching 0 from above/below. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Kite. That makes sense. See if the internet holds. Fingers crossed. Limits are the devil. Fair. Luckily not something I have to deal with too often. Most of the math in my job is accounting math. All right, friends, it is 11 a.m. where I am, which means I've been live for roughly an hour, and it is time for the D&D recap. So, this is for last week's session, since I didn't stream last week. Didn't have a session yesterday, and won't have a session next week. So, the next session will be in 2 weeks, potentially 3 weeks. Well, TBD. But when we last left our heroes, we were making our way through Wave Echo Cave and have found the Spellforge. And we had also found a wizard who had bid us to please go and in order to prove our loyalty so that he would not kill us and turn us into his undead minions, he bid us to go and take out this creature that is guarding the vault, that keeps killing the wizard's minions every time he tries to send them up there. Hey Kuma, welcome back. 17 months subscribed. Thank you very, very much. You're just in time. Thank you, thank you. Making our way downtown, sort of. So we knew from prior exploration that this creature that he is bidding us to go dispose of is some kind of beholderkin, because Glint had gotten a glimpse of it earlier when it ate a zombie. She had seen, floating eyeballs, some further eyeballs on stalks, lots of teeth, and had beat a hasty retreat. So we're kind of like, crap, okay. So we head up to the doorway that we know this beholderkin is behind. And in speaking with this wizard, for one thing, he's arrogant. He's kind of an asshole. He believes that, he is right, and he has a right to everything that goes on in these caves. And it was enough to make at least Bram, I don't know if suspicious is the right word, but definitely, Bram was definitely getting itchy vibes from this sorcerer. Bram's paladin sense of justice was getting pinged really hard of you're kind of an ass and I don't really like you. So he kind of wants to know, okay, if this beholder is protecting the vault from the wizard and his minions, why? What is in the vault that the wizard wants to get at so badly? Yeah, side-eyeing. There was some serious side-eyeing going on. It was basically that, we know you're not telling us the whole story. And Bram especially didn't really just want to rush in, sword drawn, without knowing the whole story, if that makes sense. There's clearly something that the wizard wasn't telling us, and Bram, or Bram thought there were things that the wizard wasn't telling us. He didn't particularly like that. So we head up to this doorway. Bram kind of takes point, since he had been the one that was also speaking with the wizard. And if it comes to a fight, Bram is probably a good one to have in the lead, So Bram settles himself next to the door. Everybody else kind of arrays themselves around behind him. We are finally learning, take notes, we're finally learning as a party not to line ourselves up in a convenient lightning bolt line outside of a door. It only took, I don't know. And also there was also the thought of like deliberately arraying ourselves out in case of straight fireballs, because there's clear evidence in this like outside area that there's been fireballs here. So we're learning. I know, it's weird. It doesn't make sense. It's only taken 2 years. And how many lightning bolts? But anyway, there are no lightning bolts today that we know of. So Bram has decided he kind of wants to try to talk to this beholderkin. Because T. Garn actually has some knowledge of these kinds of creatures. That they're aberrations and that they come from the far realms, like they are not of our plane. And T. Garn is also able to tell Bram that, yeah, they're intelligent. You know, they are capable of speech and reasoning. So Bram wants to at least try to talk to it, to try to figure out more of what's going on. Should we believe the wizard? You know, etc. And it's entirely possible that when he opens the door, maybe the beholder just kind of rushes out and tries to eat us, at which point, fine, we kill it. But Bram wants to try. So he decides to try to signal, like, hey, we come in peace. We're definitely not zombie minions. He actually knocks on the door. Like, just, you know, kind of the quick knock knock, hey, we're coming in kind of knocks. And then opens the door. And inside is, I think it was described as kind of a workshop, sort of. Like, there's like benches and desks along the walls that kind of have stuff on them. There is a door off to one side that presumably leads into whatever this vault thing is. There is a brazier on one of the braziers we've been looking for, on kind of a stone pedestal in the center of the room, and it's already lit. It's glowing a kind of a purpley flame color. And then behind it is this beholderkin. It's got, you know, it's big floating eyeball with lots of teeth. It's got 4, I believe Randa said, 4 kind of mini eyeballs on floaty stalks arrayed around it. And so when Bram opens the door, and Bram is kind of standing in the doorway so nobody else can be seen behind him, the beholderkin kind of blinks at him and just stays where it is, stays floating in its spot, and blinks at him. And then in Bram's head, so unfortunately nobody else could hear this conversation, in Bram's head he hears basically like, oh, hello, who are you? Do you work here? Which kind of throws Bram off a little bit. And he's like, no, like, we don't work here. We're just passing through. We're trying to find our comrades' family, you know, that have gotten lost in these caves. And the beholder's like, oh, well, if you're not employees of the mine, you need to be removed. And Bram's very quickly like, no, it's we haven't found a supervisor, so we're not employed because we haven't had the chance to be employed, but we would love to be employed by the mine. Kind of frantically backpedaling. And the beholderkin blinks again and is like, oh, well, in that case, you'll nobody can come in here without the permission of the head wizard, Mormusk. And Mormusk is the name of the wizard that we had talked to. So Bram's kind of like, huh, okay. Well, sure, we would love to go talk to him. So where can we find him? And the beholder's like, oh, well, I'm pretty sure the wizard's quarters are just south of here. And Bram's like, okay, thank you. We will go try to find him and speak to him. And then we will come back and talk to you again. And the beholderkin was basically like, okay, thanks, bye. Close the door on your way out, please. So Bram closes the door, and he's somewhat befuddled. He relays this conversation to the rest of the party. Yeah, that's what you've just said, Kitsune. That was basically our entire reaction too. It was just the okay, we love them. What we're able to glean once Bram kind of relays this conversation to everybody else, and we all kind of pool our knowledge on, you know, magic and the far realms and everything else, is that basically this beholder was probably summoned back when Mormusk was alive, and, you know, was charged to stay in this room and guard the entrance to the vault. And don't let anyone through that doesn't have the head wizard Mormusk's permission. And then Mormusk died. So, because he's no longer alive, he no longer can really control the beholderkin, but also seemingly can't really do anything to, like, dismiss it or tell it to go away. So it's in kind of a catch-22. And yeah, basically, oh no, they're employed and adorable. But they've been here so long that they've kind of lost the plot. This poor little beholder. They're kind of a little bit crazy. Just because they've been cooped up here in isolation for so long at this point. So Bram's kind of like, well, I don't really want to kill it. And everybody else was kind of in agreement. You know, clearly Mormusk doesn't have real control over it anymore. But we also don't really know if Mormusk has tried just dismissing it or telling it can go away. Because Mormusk seems like the kind of asshole that would shoot first and try the kind option never, sort of thing. Yeah, they've lost more than a few marbles over the years. It's fine. So we kind of, the party puts their heads together and we kind of decide, okay, we've got a couple options. Option one is we go back in there and kill the beholderkin the way Mormusk asked us to. Option two is we go back down to try to talk to Mormusk and, like, ask him, because we're thinking, like, okay, clearly if he's dead, it seems like he can't really control the beholder anymore, but maybe if we get, like, a written letter that's signed by Mormusk, maybe that will be enough. And maybe in that case it won't matter if Mormusk isn't alive, because it is, like, him signing off on releasing them. So we kind of think maybe we'll go down and ask Mormusk that. Like, ask, okay, well, have you tried dismissing it? Have you tried, you know, XYZ? Option three is just to kill Mormusk, because Teetgarn is able to tell us that probably in order to have the beholderkin here and have it stay in this realm for so long and have it performing this specific duty, there's probably, like, a contract involved. And usually it's the kind of thing where if we kill off the wizard, then the contract is null and void. Like, if we completely, like, destroy the soul. So because his body was dead, it, like, didn't fully break the contract. It just kind of fractured it. But if we, like, kill him off for real, it should, like, fully nullify it and allow the beholderkin to go home. Um, Not sure if this occurred to us. You know what he could control? A dead beholderkin. No, that didn't occur to me either. Oh, I hate that. Oh, I'm so glad we took the route that we did. That did not occur to me at all. Yeah, so what we decide to do is we're gonna go down and talk to Mormusk again and try to see if we can engineer some kind of a peaceable solution. Like, have you tried dismissing the contract? Have you, we'll deliver a written notice of termination, and maybe that'll work. And if all else fails, we go to plan C. So we trooped back down to Mormusk's room, and again Bram kind of takes point because he was the one that was talking to Mormusk before. So he opens the door again. Yeah, exactly. It's gainfully employed. We very quickly decided that no, we don't want to hurt Beholder Chan. We would like to try to dismiss them to go back. I kept saying we want them to be free to go touch grass because they've been trapped in this cave system for so long. I want them to be able to go out and see the sky if they want. Yeah. Oh, that actually does make so much sense. That's why he wanted us to kill it. And that totally did not occur to me at all. But yeah, that makes so much sense. He wanted us to kill it so that once it was dead, he could raise it as a ghoulish thing. Great. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Love that for us. So we head back down to talk to Mormusk. Bram opens the door, and again, Mormusk kind of rises up out of whatever this footlocker thing is and is like, "Did you do as I asked?" And Bram's like, no, not yet. We have a few questions first." And Mormusk immediately gets angry and is like, "What do you mean you haven't done what I asked? Are you defying me?" And Bram's like, no, technically. Still trying to talk his way out of this a little bit. Like, no, we're just wondering, like, have you tried dismissing the beholder? Have you tried? And Mormusk is just like, "No, you will do this thing that I have asked you to, or I will turn you into corpses and raise you myself." Mr. Wizard has transferred control to us, and we're your boss now. I mean, no, we didn't try that. That's a good point. I will note, and I found this interesting, but in hindsight, it does make sense. Bram was very much stretching the truth, if not outright lying to the beholder. But at no point did Randus have me roll like any kind of intimidation or anything, or like deception or anything. And I presume that's just because this beholder was so off its rocker that it would have believed anything Bram said to it. That's just my assumption, though. But anyway, so Mormusk is getting pissed, and he's like, you dare defy me, and you dare not do as I have told you to." And Bram's just kind of sighing. He's kind of seeing the inevitability of what's happening here, and he's just like, "No, yes, I guess we're defying you, because we're not gonna kill your beholder friend." Well, I guess not his friend. We're not gonna kill our new beholder friend. So Bram, seeing inevitably that this is gonna come to a fight, reaches over to try to fling open, because this is a set of like double doors, and so Bram had opened one of them to talk to Mormusk. So he reaches over to try to fling open the other door, thinking that if it's going to come to a fight, we probably want to try to open up the area a little bit more. So he has a bad angle on it though, and he's trying not to move too much, so he only ends up flinging it open kind of halfway. But you know, it works. It believes anything that didn't contradict its perception of reality. That makes sense. Yeah, basically, Kitsune. Well, sir, we're union and not comfortable taking on a job to rat out a colleague. I mean, taking on a job to murder a colleague. Um, yeah. So Bram kind of sees at this point that, yep, it's gonna come to a fight, and everybody else behind him is kind of also coming to that conclusion. So we all roll up initiative. This is a little bit above table, but we all roll up initiative, and Bram has that nifty new feat that lets him switch places with somebody in initiative order. And Phalar rolled really, really well. Bram rolled kind of okay for once, but Phalar rolled really, really well. And since Bram is literally the one standing in the doorway staring down the suddenly hostile wizard ghost, Phalar goes, "Hey Bram, do you want to switch places with me and go first?" And Bram's like, "Yes, please." So we do that switcheroo. So Bram is going to be moving first. Momusk is still kind of hovering above his footlocker thing, all the way on the other side of the room, about 25 feet away from Bram. Which is relevant. Because I'm looking through Bram's list of spells and inventory and such, and I still have two, but like Bram is still wearing the necklace of chaos balls that we found in the Dragon's Burrow. And there are still 2 beads left on it. And Bram is very fed up with Mormusk at this point, and decides, you know what? This probably won't take him out in one shot, but it'll do a nice chunk. So for his first turn, and nobody else has moved into the room yet, Mormusk hasn't moved anywhere, like there's nothing else, none of the allies are in range, it's perfect timing. So Bram kind of decides, okay, this is the only time I'm going to have this chance. If he moves, he's going to get too close to one of us, and then I won't be able to do this. So he pulls off one of the balls, or one of the beads, and tosses it at Mormusk. So it hits. You know, he's just far enough away that this whatever sort of chaos ball happens won't even catch Bram. It's perfect. So I roll the dice to determine the damage type, because again, this is a chaos ball. So what element the damage ends up being is randomized. So I roll a d8 to determine the damage type, and I roll a 3, which is fire. So this is going to be a plain old traditional fireball. So the fireball explodes, like directly on top of Mormusk, so that it doesn't catch Bram. And as the fireball explosion sort of started expanding, the cloak that Mormusk is wearing, which is like this blue flowy cloak, seems to kind of flare with almost like blue flame dancing around the hem of it. And the fireball explosion that had been expanding just kind of got sucked into the robe and did absolutely no damage whatsoever. I was so mad. Bram was also so mad. It did 0 damage. It got just like pulled into and absorbed by this cloak. Bram was just kind of like, well, fuck. So he moved back away from the doorway, and of course Mormusk just kind of gives him this little look and just goes, pathetic. And Bram just kind of shrugs at him like, I didn't control it, man. If I did, I would have picked something else. But he's also able to kind of turn and yell back at the rest of the party, like, hey guys, it looks like he's immune to fire damage. Don't use fire spells. Thinking specifically of how often Phalar and Glint like to use Firebolt. Bram's just like, hey, no, don't. So he moves moves sort of to the side so that the doorway is clear. And unfortunately can't really do more than that on his turn. Mormusk comes flying out. He, again, being a ghost, he can just kind of move where he wants. And he sort of positions himself kind of in the middle of everybody. And there's this, again, his cloak kind of flares up, this really bright blue. And there's just this explosion of blue fire that like explodes out from where he is, which, you know, is functionally sort of the fireball spell, but kind of not. It's centered on him. It's not like a spell he's casting. So most of us were caught in, I think that first one, all of us were in the radius, because we had, or no, so Glint and Gundred had stayed up on sort of, so the way that this cavern is set up, there's like a lower room and then a staircase up with a ledge and the upper room. And Glint and Gundred had stayed up on the upper part of it, kind of overlooking the lower section. So they were both out of range. But I believe besides the two of them, everybody else gets caught in this first fire explosion. Phalar had consciously moved himself to be, like, you know, behind the pillar and kind of, you know, thinking if there was a thrown fireball, he would be out of range. But I believe even he got barely caught in this one. Also, congrats, Kara. 100% on your presentation. Good job. Yes, and the other big difference is that this fire explosion does more damage than a normal fireball spell would. It does D8 instead of... so it does 8d8 instead of 6d8. Yeah, I think that is it, Kitsune. 8d8 versus 8d6. It's one die size higher. Which is unfortunate. Because that was Bernie and it hurt. So that wasn't good. We all kind of cringe and ow. Very ow. I think most of us made our dex saves, which at least meant we were taking half damage. But it was still, you know, not fantastic, not an ideal start. Mormusk is also able to sort of summon skeletons out of the bone bits that are just covering the floor. They're not like full skeletons, and they might have, like, you know, an arm. It's not like it's individual corpses that he's raising. These skeletons are just kind of reassembling themselves from all of the bone bits that are just layering the floor. Gundred, using his new staff, tries to be helpful and cast web to slow some of the skeletons down, and does briefly manage it, except that fireball from Mormusk just immediately takes the web out because it's extremely flammable, which is unfortunate, but it was a good thought. Thank you, Gundred. This combat was a week ago, so I am trying to remember specifics of highlights that happened. Mostly it was just skeletons showing up, trying to whap us, and trying to serve as distractions for Mormusk. Mormusk himself casts another of the fireball explosions, and we managed to notice after the second one that the blue glow, or like the blue color of his cloak, was kind of almost a little bit dulled afterwards. Like, it wasn't as bright and shiny as it had been at the beginning. Yeah, Glint was doing some poofing around using her fancy Misty Step stuff and, cure wounds and healing word to be able to give us heals. We were trying to split our attention between bonking skeletons and trying to hit Mormusk. And then when he lets the second explosion off, he had moved a bit and actually caught two of his own bone minions with his fireball explosion. And as the fireball explosion hits his bone minions, they just kind of, shatter and fall back into bone fragments. But Mormusk himself kind of seems to regenerate a little bit. Above table, he's able to reabsorb the life force, cough cough remaining HP, cough cough, of any of the minions that he kills himself. So if we had and we did smack a couple minions down, if we killed them, it's fine. But if he kills them himself, he's able to reabsorb their remaining life force and heal himself, which was annoying. And as soon as Bram saw that, he kind of goes, oh hell no, that's not good. So yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing that we learn above table, is that the fire blast sort of thing on his cloak was regenerating when he got hit with fire. So he started the fight with one, and then Bram immediately gave him a second one. Clearly not on purpose, but still slightly salty about that. However, Bram did end up getting his revenge, because as soon as he sees, that, okay, Mormusk can actually heal himself using the life force of his skeleton buddies, Bram basically goes, oh hell no. And, on his next turn, sort of, charges Mormusk with his sword. And he is also hasted at this point, because Phalar had cast haste on Bram, which is fantastic. So Bram goes in with the full intention of okay, I'm going to just hit him 3 times as hard as I absolutely as hard as I can. We've got to try to take him out fast, because if this goes on to be too long of a fight, it's not going to be good for us. Yeah, and on his very first attack, Bram rolls a crit. Oh, I will say he actually did have advantage on that attack, because I believe it was Glint hit Mormusk with a guiding bolt that gave the next melee attack against him advantage, and then the next melee attack against Mormusk was Bram going in with his sword. So Bram got advantage on that, and with the advantage, rolled a crit. Rolled a crit, and yes, as Randus says, also burned a charge of Divine Smite to add on to the crit. So, and since Mormusk is an undead, Divine Smite does extra damage, even on top of the crit. So I think I was rolling, 2 8d8, I think. The slashing damage from the sword itself was resisted. That was the other thing, is we had tried to hit him with various things, and found that he was resistant to physical damage, and also I believe resistant to lightning, and of course just straight up immune to fire. So he resisted the slashing damage, but then when I rolled the radiant damage was Mormusk's exact remaining HP. So Bram just kind of reared back on his hind hooves and just brought his sword down in this massive, glowing, smiting critical hit that just completely took Mormusk out. Just, passed straight through him. Yeah, 68 radiant plus 2d8 plus 4 in Bram's case for the slashing. I believe I rolled snake. So I rolled, and this is like probably one of my new favorite D&D moments, because I rolled the slashing first because I knew that it would be resisted. So I was like, okay, let's get this slashing out of the way. I rolled snake eyes on the slashing damage for a total of 6, reduced to 3. And then I rolled the 68 for the radiant damage and got what his exact remaining HP was. It was incredible. I felt so good. It made up for the fireball earlier in the fight. I'll tell you what. Resistant to a lot of things and then immune to fire and necrotic. Okay, good to know. Glint is high-key so happy that Centaur Dad is good at handling ghosts. I mean, he's pretty good at ghosts. He's at least not intimidated by ghosts. So yeah, we managed to take out Mormusk, and, you know, as he collapsed, his remaining skeleton minions also completely fell apart. We all kind of took a second to catch our breath, and then headed into the room where Mormusk had been to just kind of search it and regroup and kind of gather ourselves and kind of decide what we want to do before going back up to check on the beholder. Because we were all hoping that by doing away with Mormusk that it would have just like released the beholder and it would have been able to leave, but we weren't entirely sure. So we decided to kind of regroup a little bit and catch our breath before going back up, just in case it was still there and we needed to do something about it. So we searched through the room where Mormusk had been. Didn't really find anything, I don't think. Not that I remember anyway. And then headed back up to the room where we had left the Beholderkin. When we opened the door again, the brazier is still there. The brazier is still lit. Still glowing kind of a purpley. But the beholder is not there. In its place, there's kind of a tear in reality that's just kind of slowly getting smaller as it knits itself back together. You know, I'm sure that's fine. No friend. But friend got to go home, presumably. Presumably they are off to seek out a therapist in the far realms and work through their difficulties and go on to live a normal and happy life, free of indentured servitude to evil wizards. Yes, that is exactly what will happen with that beholder friend. They will be good. I have like weird thoughts about maybe they'll come back and help us fight a dragon someday, in like, you know, an anime sort of moment of like, you helped me before, now I have returned, which won't happen, but it's very fun to think about. So yeah, so the Beholderkin has gone home. I'm sure they will be happy and fine. Yes, Lash was able to replace the smith's tools that they broke on the door earlier in the cave. We kind of looked around a bit. Landon kept an eye on that tear in reality just to make sure it was actually closing. And he got a bit of a glimpse into the far realms, which I'm sure is fine and not problematic at all. We went over to investigate the door into what we assume is the vault. But we can't really hear anything coming from it. All is quiet. So after a bit of discussion, we kind of make the decision, okay, let's leave the vault for now. We do also light the brazier in the room where Mormusk is. I forgot about that. Um, the I knew there was something else we did in that room. The brazier in the room where Mormusk was turns out to be a poison brazier. So I believe what happens is that Gundred comes in with his fancy new staff and just kind of bonks the brazier, and it actually works and it lights up all good. So that one is lit. And then along with the one that's in the room where the beholder was, which is already lit, we think that's all of them, or at least that's all of them that we've seen. That's all of them that we have access to. So we're kind of like, okay, the barrier might be down. We don't know what's going on back there with, TBD, the rest of the black spiders, or not the black spider anymore, but the guy that murdered him and took over. We don't know what's going on with their organization at the moment. We should probably leave the vault for now and go scout out the barrier, see what's going on there. The vault seems to be secure. So the vault seems to be secure, and also it seems like whatever is in there, the Black Spiders organization, and I'm still calling it that for lack of anything better. The Black Spiders organization doesn't seem interested in it, or at least they think there's still a beholder here and that they can't get to it. So we should be okay to kind of leave it for now. Oh yes, there was some other info gained in the beholder's room. Glint, when she was investigating the door to the vault, saw that there were like 3 like palm-sized depressions in the wall beside the door. One that was kind of at human height, one that was kind of at dwarf height, and one that was kind of at gnome height. So that's interesting, but we didn't get the chance to investigate too much further into that. Oh, yes, okay. We know there are 7 braziers. We have found 6 braziers and lit 5 of them. 1 was already lit. The runes had one that was a different color when we saw it, so it makes sense that the barrier is likely not fully down. Yes. But we still wanted to go and check on it and try to determine what to do next. And we determined that the vault could probably wait until later and that we could come back for it. And so we kind of headed back out toward where we had originally seen the barrier. And the barrier is still up. Oh, right. Yes. So Phalar, in poking around in the beholder's room, had found some scraps of like notes and things. And in deciphering them, was able to determine that the elemental flames can be used to sort of enchant weapons and armor by soaking them in those flames. Which we have not tried yet. We have not done any sort of experimentation with that, but that is very interesting. And a thing that we may come back to if we have the time. Yes, thank you, Randus. I had totally forgotten about that bit. So we head back to the room where the barrier was, or the hall, I guess, where the barrier was. And it is still in place. However, as we're watching it, it seems to kind of flicker a bit. Like ripple, I think is the word that was used. So the barrier kind of like, it stays steady, and then every few seconds it kind of ripples, and we get the sense that if we wanted to, someone could probably push against and pass through the barrier in that moment when it's rippling. So there is that. Yeah, I'm getting there, Randus. So we're like, okay, so the barrier's not down, but on the plus side, whoever is behind it probably doesn't realize that we can get through this way. So put a pin in that. We should go check on the other door. So our other thought was, at this point, we probably need to take a long rest. We've been in here for literally hours and hours. We've taken 3 short rests, and we're all starting to really run low on resources. After the fight with Mormusk, we're all somewhat low on HP. Like, none of us are critical, but it's not great. So we're kind of thinking, like, okay, if everything is still locked up tight and there's no sign of, like, activity from the bad guys, we should take a long rest, actually replenish. So there was a little bit of debate about, okay, if we're going to take a long rest, should we do it in front of the barrier, or should we do it in front of the, for lack of a better term, back door that we found? And with the barrier still, quote unquote, up, we realized that if the bad guys are going to try to slip away, they would do it out the back door, because we don't think that they know that the barrier can be passed through at this point, so they wouldn't even think about it for themselves. So we head over to the back door, and as we walk towards it, we realize that the back door is now fully open and there's light shining out of it. And that's a problem. So we don't know if there's anything going on in that room. We don't know if it's just empty. Randus is fully hinting that, yeah, it's we're too late. They have left. But we'll see if that's the case or not. This is actually where we chose to end session, so that sneaking up and looking in the door will be our first action of the next session, and we can get all of the descriptions and everything fresh. Not, trying to get them before a 3-week break. But yeah, basically, dun. You would say that's the front door and the barrier is the back door. That's fair. That makes sense, actually. Yes, so this week, yesterday would have been our normal off session week. Next week there will not be a session on account of the Aether Drift, Magic the Gathering pre-releases. So we may or may not have a makeup session the week after. We have not decided that yet. So no session next week for sure. There might be one the week after, or it might be the week after that. TBD. But yeah, it was a fun session. And it was like the most pure D&D, going from the oh fuck off of the chaos ball rolling fire to the radiant critical hit of a divine smite. Like, it was a good session for me. I hope I don't feel like I was dominating the session too much with Bram, but Bram was also the one doing all the talking. But yeah, I really enjoyed the session. I hope everybody else did too. It felt good. It felt like, yeah, Mormusk was doing a lot of damage to us, but it felt like we were handling it pretty well. Which is always what you want going into a boss fight. I'm also very happy we didn't have to fight the Beholder. From a sheer, ease of fight stance, we probably would have had an easier time with the Beholder, but I feel like we made the morally correct choice. It's almost like Bram is in charge. Look, Bram is reluctantly starting to realize that he is in charge. But there is also a difference between Bram being in charge and me as the player dominating sessions, which I do not want to do. I want to give everybody else their moments as well. But yeah, it was a good session. I very thoroughly enjoyed it. And we have a beholder friend that definitely probably won't ever remember us or that we exist. But you know, it's fun to think about. Maybe someday Beholder Chan will come back. Yeah, Bram is very reluctantly starting to realize at this point that he is in charge and just kind of going, oh crap. Oh crap, but also, alright, fine, if nobody else is gonna do this, I will. I totally have a beholder friend for my fanfic. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, maybe the beholder friend can come back and be part of Glint's pirate crew during her retirement epilogue. That epilogue is getting pretty epic. I mean, isn't that the point? Maybe it's not an epilogue. Maybe it's just like, it's part 2. It's the second campaign after this one that we'll never actually get to play. But it's the adventure that Glint goes on after this. An epic log? Something like that. Oh, come on, thread. Just finishing up this thread, and then I will be taking a break. All right. All right, there we go. I'm gonna go take my quick break. Everybody else get up, move around, stretch a bit, grab refills on your drinks if you need to. Yeah, do your things, but don't go away. I'll be back in a couple minutes. I'm gonna go eat a banana. There we go. Yeah, exactly, Kitsune. She is beauty. She is grace. She is Eepy all over her face. That is Sasha. She is indeed curled up downstairs on the couch, just like completely passed out. Okay, for board games, I want that. And that. There we go. All right, what have we got here? Cribbage. All right. Okay. I want over here. Oh, which is going to be annoying. Okay. So I want either yellow and then orange, or I want like white and then black, or white and then something. I mean, I've got whites here. So I guess let's go ahead and grab those. Next. Coffee! Enjoy coffee. Coffee is good. Alright. I guess let's go with that. Sasha wants your soup? Of course she does. It's full of cream. It's also full of garlic, so she can't have it. No soup for Sasha. Okay. I really want to be able to grab that butterfly, please. I guess let's do that. Alright. Terraforming Mars, but this is the draft step. Actually, maybe I think I grab this. And then sure. Ooh, all right. Yes, I like this one. This one is interesting. Do I even have... Oh, yes, I still have a couple left. Okay. So basically, on the outer ring here, you have your colored train cars. Mine are the pink ones. And then you place tiles to form the paths where you're hoping to get to the warehouses. It can be any of the warehouses. It can be the ones here in the center. It can be other ones along the edge. Once they've been used, they get marked off with that little, like they can't get used again. And you get points depending on how many tiles you pass through. So, yeah, if you want to just do like a straight shot across, that's fine. That gets you some points. But if you manage to do like a really windy, twisty one that goes through a lot of tiles, you'll score a lot more points. Oh, you will always get to a warehouse. Oh, okay. I hadn't caught that. I thought it... So it literally is just a matter of trying to... I thought you had to be careful to not, like, slam into another train car or something. Okay, so it really is just a matter of trying to engineer the longest route. Okay, that's good to know. Let's see. Let's do... Let's actually do this one. The tiles all follow a right-hand drive system, so collisions are not possible. Oh, okay, cool. I had totally missed that. That is very good to know. Thank you. Okay, pyramid. Oh, this is gonna go poorly, isn't it? Crap. I guess green? This is gonna go very badly. And then that goes here. And then there. Yep. Oh, this is gonna go very badly. Yep. Okay, that should stop there. But this will continue. Sure. Fine. Red or yellow would be better because the 60 plus 40 could support a 100. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, well. Ah, well. Let's see here. And then this is play on either side. So I think it's this actually. Do that. And then that. Right. Neum. Sort of. Slight neum. Do I have? I do have heats. So in that case, a 1, of course. No. All right. Put that. Sure. Yeah, I'll take that. Okay, different Terraforming Mars game. Let's see, I can both raise the temperature or place plants. I mean, or both. I need temperature, so let's go ahead and do that. And then let's see. Probably go ahead and play that. Ooh, yes, I like this one. Okay. You can go down here. Actually, let's... Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. That one. Put you there. Okay. Oh, that works. 'Cause you can go there. Excellent. Next. Rummy. Okay. Don't need the 6. Don't need the ace. 3. Don't need that either. not winning this one whatsoever, but that's okay. Guess probably you. There. There. More rummy. Ooh, do I want to pick up the queen? Actually, let's just draw. Oof, okay. Yeah, I don't want that. Okay. Oh boy. This wall configuration is rough. I've had a lot of turns where I'm just like, I don't really have a move to make, so I'm just gonna place a tile wherever. Next. Okay, time for Neum. 3. I do have heat, yes. Oh, I don't have any heat. Okay, not that. Sure. All right, and then this one is brand new, so should have, yep, 7. Sure. Okay. Yep, this is fine. Let's do that. I think either of these doesn't really matter. Okay. Now, here's the difficult bit. Okay. So I think I can manage to... Okay, so build that. I think I can manage both of these. I think. Because if I do that, it completes that one. If I do that, oh, I can't quite, I don't think. Oh, maybe just. Because I'll have a lot of spares from my production. We'll see if that's enough. Next. Earth. Okay, I should have, yeah, one more row, which I want to be mushrooms, I think. But this goes here. Perfect. Chicken Ace has claimed the zebras. All right, next. Heart. Okay. draw. Not ideal, but sure. Next. Interesting. Okay, I have 3 heat in my engine. I can actually... Ooh. Actually. YOLO. That should be fine. Here's hoping I actually get around that corner. That would be nice. Huh, starfish or starfish? Ooh. Dang, okay. Okay, what am I doing on this one? I'm red. Right here. So I just need 2 of something. Okay. So I have a large straight, Yahtzees, 3s and 4s. And I have 1, 2, 4, 5. Nope. Nope. Dang it. I think it's a pass, yes. I think I'll play the 5. And... Alright, deck. Not ideal. Alright, there we go. I'm caught up, which means I then click on that. Alright. Yeah. There we go. Take a sip of my coffee here. As always, thank you for the board games, friends. Now, where were we? Right, Randus wanted us to look for a hidden message in the randomness. Does anyone see anything? Let me know in the comments if you see a hidden message in the randomness of my dice determined quilting. Okay, bigger question. Where was I? We're here, I think. Yes, over here. There we go. That's where I was. Seems to be asking why a lot, questioning the nature of the universe. That's plausible. I could see that. Is Sasha still begging for soup? Yeah, come on. She's gone back to being an eepy ball on couch. Aww, baby. Background music has you thinking you should see Moogles trundling around doing silly things every time you look up. Mildly concerning considering this is Animal Crossing music, but also fair. not sure we want Moogles quilting, though. Giving them needles seems like a bad idea. Such fur, very Sasha. I mean, at least they haven't destroyed it on accident like the Namazu. Also, can somebody please explain to me how it's already February? I'm not sure where January went. The death ball in the sky moved? Oh no. It's not supposed to do that. Have you at least started your homework, Kara? If not, reminder to do so. Also, reminder for anyone else that has work that they've been putting off, homework or otherwise. Reminder you should probably start that. Go put that laundry in. Go sweep that thing. Kite did their laundry. And Kara's working on homework. Excellent. Not that you have to be doing something, but if there's something you should be doing, I encourage you to go do it. Today is a show-off. Fair. I never said they weren't. Forgot you had stream up. Oh no. Oops. If this is Semiramis, I am concerned about the power of a full Ramus. You and me both, Kite. Presume this is fate stuff. You presume correctly. Fate Apocrypha, if I am remembering correctly. A sachette. We'll see if she decides to come visit stream or if she is only after kibbles. Oh, I hear her eating the kibbles. She do crunch. She crunch so loud. Oh, hey, cool. We're all the way back around. Aha! Brandis has redeemed hydrate and stretch and is also reminding people to eat if they have not. And also feeding Carby, which is excellent. It is their lunchtime too. I'll do a stretch. Sasha. Come here, baby. Oh, no. Still crunch. She continues to crunch. Excellent. The stretch was needed. Thank you. Boo! She goes back downstairs. Sasha. And now she approaches not of her own free will.
Your adoring public awaits you, ma'am.
1 second. Finish.
Wiggle.
I mean, of course she wiggle.
Here we go. Yes, I am a monster.
Oh, you're so warm. There are bees. Small bees. The tail is also twitching. So she may not stay here for long, but oh, well, maybe. Maybe. I'll adjust the camera here in a minute once she has decided to settle. Yes, hello. No, stay here. Stay here with us. No. There she go. Brief baby time. She only wishes to eat downstairs. But who knows? Maybe she'll come back. That's what we get for bringing her somewhere not of her own free will. And Sasha is nothing if not willful. It's true. It is very true. Oh man, another thing about D&D last week that I totally forgot in the recap is that I was downstairs on the couch and Sasha was curled up asleep beside me, and I used the same microphone for D&D that I'm using right now for streaming. So it's the really good condenser microphone that picks up everything. But Sasha was like a good 3 feet away from it, and at one point she was snoring loudly enough that everybody could hear her in D&D. I didn't even realize it. Like, I had no idea the microphone could pick it up, and Kara was just like, is Sasha snoring? And I was like, yes. And she's like, we can hear it. So yes, there were little baby snores during D&D last week. Hashtag blessed. Big baby snores? Oh no, I have heard her snore louder than she was. That's why I figured the microphone wasn't picking it up, because those were not even her loudest snores. Oh good lord, come on. There we go. Mlem. Ooh. We have a mlem from Kitsune. Does anyone else wish to answer? Can we get a raise on a mlem? That was my thought, yeah. Ooh. Kara sees your mlem and raises you a blep. High stakes here. No. There's still a paper in that one. I snipped the stitches and didn't pull the paper out. It's fine, it's fixable. Yep, there's totally still a paper in that one. Come on. Eh. Everything is fine. I mean, no, there definitely wasn't a paper left in that one. I don't know what those crinkly sounds were. Just add a little water. Exactly. First time I washed it, there wouldn't be any paper left anyway. That said, I will definitely notice if any of these still have paper in them when I start sewing through them, because it will be very noticeable. I would have noticed that one when I got to quilting it. I just noticed early because I was gonna stick a pin through it. So yes, by the time we are done, there will for sure be no papers left, because every one of these hexagons will be stitched through. And I will definitely notice if there's paper while I'm stitching. That's what they all say. Gosh, Randus, how many quilting streamers do you watch? Checks notes, carry the 4. Exactly, you won. I mean, that's fair. I say a lot of things. I say a lot of things and remember very few of it. Or remember very few of them. But you know, a handful of IRL people that like their handicrafts, that's fair. Look, the ducks are not terribly smart. They can't just like dunk themselves. Fuego quack. I'm impressed nobody's commented on some of the duck names before now. Matt is actually not a reference to Loading Ready Run. It is a reference to Axis Powers Italia. The flame it spreads? It sure do. There's a handful of ducks that are considered flammable. Why is the one duck called Mommy? Because that is quote unquote the default duck. It is just a platonic normal rubber duck. Except the Easter egg with it is that if it is in the pool for, I think it's 5 minutes, it will spawn 3 much smaller baby ducks that trail around after it for a little while. And then eventually the baby ducks just kind of get stuck at the edge of the pool. They're probably in there now. They would have spawned by now. But good luck spotting them. They are small. So that is why that one is called Mommy. Just so that I know, oh yes, this is the one that spawns the baby ducks. There is also a Kitte duck. I don't know if it's actually in this pool yet or not. Because there's something like 160 different ducks now. Because I'm a simp and I have all of the DLC packs. So there's something like 160 ducks. And it will spawn in one of each until there's one of each, and then at that point it'll start spawning duplicates. So I don't think we've hit the point of one of each. Oh good, the Kitte duck is in there. Excellent. The one with the fire hose? Yes, it will indeed put out the ducks on fire if it gets itself aimed correctly. It earns you a Steam achievement if it does. Kitte is next to Mommy. I wonder why. Next question. Also, Kite, if you are uncomfortable with having a duck named after you, I can totally change it. I just figured it was an appropriate name for that particular duck. Oh no, I want to go this way. So I will finish up with this length of thread and then probably call it a day. Might be a couple minutes early, but that's all right. Getting there, making progress. Stitch and stitches making seams. It's a perfectly valid name. Certainly not the weirdest name I've seen. Come on. There we go. the center basically done. It's starting to behave like a blanket and not two pieces of fabric loosely held together. Because we're probably about halfway done with quilting this, honestly. At least by area. But yes, my poor thumb is definitely ready to call it a day. There we go. So there we go. That'll do it for this week. But yeah, we've made some really good progress. Basically the entire center is done now. From here all the way over to here. So yeah, it's looking good. I know the stitching doesn't really show up well on camera. Once it's done, I'll try to take some better close-up pictures for Instagram and stuff. But it's looking really cool. But what about by measure of time? Something that could be measured in factors of streams? I don't know. That's a good question. Because like the center bits all went really fast because it was shorter, you know, shorter ways around. By the time we get out to the edges, it's going to be really long rounds. I don't know. I don't think we'll quite have it done by the end of February, but probably by the end of March. Yeah. We'll say that's the estimation. That this will be done quilting. Well, we'll be done quilting by the end of March. Again, the edge is going to be a pain in the ass and probably take longer. The edge might take us a month by itself, but we'll see. We'll just kind of keep plugging away and we'll eventually get there. And that was my stomach growling, which means it's time for me to go get lunch. So thank you all very, very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much to my followers and my subscribers. Anyone who just hangs out, lurks, comes to spend time watching me work. I really, really appreciate it. Yes, I am going to go do the food thing. I really want soup. But yeah, so everybody have a great day, a great week. And I will see all you guys next time. Everybody else go eat as well if you need to. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.